Welcome, everybody, to Looty Tonight. This is part of your Saturday night doubleheader. I am DRF, joined by my co-commentator, Hammy. How's it going, bud?
Oh, it's going great. It's a great night to watch some Looty. Every's a great night. Every night is a great night for Looty because the Looty is tonight. I'm very excited to see this matchup here. We have a Div 6 match of Manta Boat Fan Club versus Splabui. I messed that up. Splabui. See, that's a fun one to say, but it catches me every time.
It's honestly one of the best team names to just say, just for the fun of it. Splabui. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, it just rolls off the tongue.
And you have to shout it too. You can't just say it like monotone, like Splabui. You have to really get into it, like Splabui.
Honestly, I agree. I agree with that. Like, there's just a certain level of enthusiasm that has to come out as you are saying the name. But it is going to be Splabui taking on Manta Boat Fan Club in your Division 6 showdown here out of Group C. So this will be a fun one for sure. I believe we might have Splitbury's current record wrong. I think both teams are currently 0-1. But regardless, I think that's going to actually really set both these teams up for what could be a really good 9-game set here.
Yeah, for sure. These teams really want to prove themselves right now. They're both sitting at 0-1 in the series, or in Looty so far. And when you're this early in the season, you really want to make sure that you're setting a good record going forwards, that you're in a good position to potentially make the playoffs.
Exactly. These early sets do set the tone. So it is going to be something that can really help one of these teams get on that right track to possibly punch their ticket to the playoffs. As for the other team, dropping down to 0-2 is definitely going to be disheartening, but there are ways to make the playoffs with a 3-2 record in Looty, but 2 losses is really all the wiggle room that you really have in a league like Looty, where it's 6 teams and only the top 2 can make it out. I mean, I've seen other crazy shenanigans happen for teams to make the playoffs, but at least with Looty's format, 3-2 is that target that you need to hit.
Exactly. And especially in this lower level around the Div 6 region, the mentality is a huge aspect for these players, being able to carry the momentum or being able to have that drive to overcome these obstacles. But with that, we're going to be getting into our first game here on Mako Mart Zones. Seeing a lot of aggressive weapons on both sides, which should be a very exciting match to watch here.
Yeah, I am particularly interested in Splitbury's comp here, being that Carbon Deco, Tri-Nouveau, Stamper, T-Tech. It's a really interesting combination because that T-Tech Tri-Slosher is the old... I guess you get range with the Stamper, but there's no weapons here that are going to work from far away, so they're going to have to find a way to take care of this edit and that range blaster, and so far no answers, as Manta Boat Fan Club are going to dominate this early game here in the opening 30 seconds, have full control of the zone, and are really starting to initiate a lockout here so early, Hammy.
Yeah, just as you said, that range is a huge factor. Manta Boat Fan Club's able to hold out Splabui with their range and not let them even drop out of their own base here. As the sword has a bit of a struggle on the left side, gets picked out by Juice. 3 members down on Splabui, and it looking like it might be a second wipeout already, with only 35 ticks left until Manta Boat Fan Club take game 1.
Yeah, and that Carbon Deco does have the Zuka at the ready, but they're going to need to bring it out here. There it goes. 1, 2, 3, no value, and they get shut down. And this is going to be a bit of an ugly end here for Splabui, as Manta Boat Fan Club dominates game number 1 here. A nice little effort from Splabui at the end to try to turn that one around, but it was all Manta Boat Fan Club from start to finish.
For sure. An excellent display of just coordination. You can see Manta Boat Fan Club really working together there, trying to take their time and pick off members one by one of Splabui and make sure that none of them can really get access to the zone and make them scramble, try to, get a footing at the start of the set.
Absolutely. So that's going to be a quick 1-0 advantage in favor of Manta Boat Fan Club as we take a look at the replay here just to see how dominant this victory was and how good this lockout was as well. Like, look at this rotation here. You know, it seemed like that it might have been the blaster that was kind of taking the lead there, got maybe a little bit weak, and the edit immediately swapped positions with them, make sure that they have coverage, and ensuring that they're going to maintain 4 strong for as long as physically possible here, and we're able to simply ride this one out.
Yeah, and like I said, you can see that coordination when the Zuka comes out. You have the blaster shooting at it, you have burst bombs flying at it. They get rid of that Zuka, remove that pressure. The Zipcaster comes in, they're able to all dunk on it, and just it's a good display of communication in the low level, which I love to see. That's one of my big things with low level teams is coordination, communication, and working together to really win the game and not just be that solo queue hero.
Exactly. And speaking of coordination and communication, we've got Clamblitz on Crab Leg coming up here on game number 2. This is one of those map modes where you need to dial up that coordination to an 11, because it can be pretty tricky to get a coordinated push up that ramp and in underneath the basket. Having a sustained push on this map mode is tricky, and only the teams that have that next level type of coordination and synergy succeed here.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. It is a very, very hard time to play Clan Blitz if you are not on the same page as your teammates. And it should be interesting to see how both teams play this map. Again, with last match we saw Splabui being a very short-range aggressive team, whereas Mentaboat Fan Club, while still an aggressive comp, had a bit more midline range to it. So we're going to see how these teams try to play this map and how aggressive they try to take a stance in order to get a good push to get a lot of clamps in.
Well, we will answer some of those questions here in just a moment as we load on in. And let's take a look at these compositions, see if there are any adjustments.
Ooh,
and I already see a couple. So,
yeah.
Hammy, go ahead. You started to point it out there.
I love a good tent umbrella. I'm looking at Juice over here inside a Manta Boat Fan Club with the Sorella tent umbrella with that Zuka. Can create a lot of pressure, but also gives a great cheesy way to get into the base if need be. On the side of Splooby, we're also seeing the pencil that gives a lot of range, so they are opting to have that more well-rounded comp rather than a very frontline aggressive comp.
Mm-hmm. No, excellent analysis there, as this match is on. It's once again Manta Boat Fan Club dominant here early, able to get a couple of nice picks, but not able to convert that into a push quite yet. But they do convert that into total mid control as Splabui pushed all the way back into their spawn, trying to just get out of their plat, hold these grates down, as this edit doing an excellent job of putting some pressure there, making it super difficult to walk that catwalk.
For sure, and that's the way to win here. You got to pressure that right side. That's where the pencil wants to set up, and you got to say no thank you. And as you can see, Manta Boat Fan Club is able to break the basket first. Not able to get more value out of it, it seems, just the 80, but that's important. It'll prevent a tiebreaker overtime, the long dreaded 8-minute overtime that everyone tries to avoid.
I've really only seen an 8-minute overtime like once in the past like 6 months, so you know, it's always funny to prospect about that, but it's always also a relief at the same time. But we are going to see Splabui here actually start to turn the tides a little. They're getting some nice positioning here in mid. If they can utilize these specials effectively, they could actually find themselves an open window up to the basket. I think there might have been someone that started to push up there a little bit, just to poke. And yeah, they're starting to make a move here. It's the Stamper, but they're going to get kind of caught between a couple players here, but somehow still survive through all of that and get shut down on the recall. But it's going to be 1-for-1 there. So right now, these teams are just clashing, trying to see if they can find anything. And Leaf will get that power clamp, but it's sent back to spawn.
Splabui is now down by 2, but they're still in a very strong position. Having that pencil on top mid does give a lot of pressure, but now Manta Boat Fan Club is pushing it out and managed to get the pencil down, which is a very strong pick to get. Now taking mid control for the side of Manta Boat Fan Club. They're going to try to start getting some clam economy here and start to try to push the Splabui roster back and see if they can get a good push coming here soon.
Absolutely. We're halfway through this game, and so far we've only seen that one and done push. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this game shakes out, if Manta Boat Fan Club's got another push in them, or if they're just going to kind of keep this defense up And it looks like with that one pick on the Stamper, they're going to actually start moving up, but are going to get taken out by the Zuka here. Leaf coming in strong, able to get that one pick, and that will force Mantaboat Fan Club to back up just a little bit yet again. So again, we're in a stalemate between these two teams. But if you're a Mantaboat Fan Club, in a way, you're actually okay with this because Splabui really hasn't had a super strong push here yet, but Star is going to be able to try to initiate that right here, right now with the Zipcast. They're not going to find any value, though. So it, once again, will be a return to mid, but Splabui doing a great job of holding mid right now.
Leaf taking a very aggressive position here. Going to get one pick and gets the Zuka out in a very good spot. Unfortunate taking down by Tentobrella, and they do actually break him aside of Splabui. They want to see if they can get at least one clan here for the lead, but it doesn't seem like they can. Unless, oh, maybe? No, unfortunately they were picked down, so they will get pushed up 1 point and not have a tie, because that's how Clan Blitz works, unfortunately. But they are... Splabui now has to try to hold out Mantaboat Fan Club and not let them capitalize on their previous push.
Yeah, but they're going to get a good push here, actually. Mantaboat Fan Club with the 1 power clam plus 3. They have more clams at the ready, but not able to get them in. Finally, the shot's going to get it, plus a jump in. Oh, a massive explosion here out of Mantaboat Fan Club to extend their lead. And they're searching for the knockout now, Hammy.
Oh, there's the wipeout. You hate to see it, but that's the kind of coordination we talked about here as Mantaboat Fan Club does take game 2. Very great coordination, getting in plenty of different power clams as well as other clams interspersed to try to lower that number down to the knockout. Great playing overall from both teams. Really good pushes there, but sometimes that Tentobrella can be hard to stop when it walks in your front door and just gives the team a great opening to start scoring some clams.
Yeah, and that you pointed that out right at the beginning of the game, and it really felt like we didn't get to see it until the end. And that's finally when they were able to have that tent-led push is what resulted in that 90-point push, the 10 penalty points plus the 80 that they had on the scoreboard. So very, very impressive push indeed that was facilitated with 3 power clams and, of course, a tent shield to give a little bit of protection and, you know, force a couple of these wipeouts to end this one once and for all.
And that's the beauty of the beast with Clam Blitz, is you just need one good push. Other modes, you know, there's a set number of time it takes or checkpoints. Now, Clam Blitz, you can walk in there, you can KO immediately. There's no barrier blocking for you. It's pure coordination. It is pure working together with your team, getting those wipeouts, getting pushed in, and getting in a solid position in the enemy base.
Absolutely. We did see a good push there out of Splabui as well. But in a way, I think that really might have enabled Mantaboat Fan Club to get their push going, because they got the 1 power clam in. They ended up getting wiped out trying to throw in 1 clam for the lead. I think if they were able to just kind of reel it back a little bit and try to hold their ground, hold that ramp, we could have had a slightly different game. But nonetheless, Mantaboat Fan Club understood their win condition there and were able to convert on it beautifully. So that's going to be a 2-0 lead in their favor.
Yeah, they fully understood the double-edged sword that is pushing in Clam Blitz. And with that, it takes them into Game 3, which will be Shipshape Cargo Co. Tower Control. I personally love this map. Well, I have a love-hate relationship with this map. The bridges are very, very aggressive positions, especially that first checkpoint. A lot of Zukas, a lot of long-range weapon like Chargers can go through there, as we see the comps coming in for both these teams. And we do see a few long-range specials coming in, a Zuka on the side of Splabui. We see the Wiper coming in from... Oh, sorry, the Wiper coming in Splabui and the Zuka coming in the side of Mantaboat Fan Club to kind of hold that bridge.
Yeah, and that edit as well. So we are going to get a bit of an edit mirror match here. So this will be an interesting one as Mantaboat Fan Club, once again, off to a hot start here. I was going to say leading into this one that I think for Splabui, they need to figure out how to get just a nice, clean opening because if they go down, 3 or get wiped out here in the opening minute, it's going to be a pretty difficult comeback from the start, because Mantaboat Fan Club has shown that with these strong openings, they can convert very easily with these big point explosions. And that's exactly what they're doing so far, as that tower's all the way down to 50 remaining and counting.
For sure, and it comes down to that mentality. When you get that strong opening, your team gets hyped up, you're ready to keep pushing forward, and when you're the roster of Splatoonie, you really want to be able to hype yourselves up and remind yourselves that you're here to win and you're able to fight them back. You have to get in there and get a good fight. As you see Azuka coming in, actually almost picking up Leaf, but barely dodging it. They're able to try to hold the second checkpoint here, so trying to hold out this small corner, which is very inconvenient, but Manta Boat Fan Club getting a delayed wipe on Splatoonie.
Yeah, and this looks like this tower is going to ride it all the way into the base here. Carbon coming in, trying to make a last-second play, but it is not enough as Manta Boat Fan Club, dominant in Game 1, dominant in Game 3. They're going to go ahead and take this one up 3-0. So this is looking to be a pretty solid showing out of Manta Boat Fan Club right now.
For sure, and this is a very scary position when you're Splatoonie, because in a best-of-9 set, it's a lot of games you have to win, and being 3 down, it becomes more and more of a Herculean task, which is still perfectly doable. We've seen bigger upsets. There have been a lot of times where teams can come back, and it sometimes just comes down to the right map, the right mode, the right mentality, and who knows what's going on in the minds of Splatoonie right now. But they may need to make some adjustments here if they want to take this set over Manta Boat Fan Club.
Yeah, absolutely. Adjustments are needed for sure. I like what we saw out of Splatoonie in Game 2. And I think that, that's the type of map mode that they're going to thrive in, is one where it's just, there's more choke points. And it's a little bit harder for Manta Boat Fan Club to kind of just kick the door down. So whereas here in Ship Shape, it's a little bit more open. So it's clear that that's where Manta Boat Fan Club thrives. So I am a little bit scared for them going into game number 4, because we're going to continue to see these very open maps. But if they can kind of figure out a way to funnel the members of Manta Boat Fan Club, I can see them really trying to push for that center checkpoint. If they can just keep hold of that ramp, Splatoonie should be able to have a good defense. And then from there, it's just a matter of, hey, can we get our own wipe to really give ourselves the opportunity to convert defense into offense and start pushing, trying to really match those pushes that Manta Boat Fan Club is hitting them with.
For sure, yes. This Hagglefish Market on Rainmaker is a very positioning important map. With that short distance between the first checkpoint in the middle and the goal, it is very easy to get in over your head and lose a lot of points very quickly. So it's very important to be able to position that Rainmaker properly so that you're not putting your team at risk. It's important to position well so that they can't jump over that gap or take that ramp or be able to drop to the left side to get a good push. And with that, we're getting straight into this match with no hesitation. But we are trying to fight back in this set to make a name for themselves and get a win over Manta Boat Fan Club. To see their picks coming in here, very aggressive rosters on both sides, very similar to what we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, very similar indeed. Although we're gonna get the T-Tech Vanilla Shot combo out of Splatoonie here, and the Stamper Navo. So an interesting set of instruments that this band is going to be playing here. Splatoonie is going to be the ones off to the stronger start here, and that's exactly what they needed to do. Is they needed to get off to this good start and getting a nice stagger here but the blaster is going to shut them down. But hey, they're right at the foot of that pedestal. If they can just find a way to pop that barrier, they might be able to knock down this first checkpoint.
Yeah, Juice here on the side of Manta Boat Fan Club being taken down, unfortunately, after playing such a good anchor position for a bit there. We might see a checkpoint here from Splatoonie if Leaf is able to get in here and get that Rainmaker. And it is actually taken by the Splatter or the end zap on the side of Splatoonie. They do get the checkpoint, which is a very good position for them here. They're able to jump across the scap, and they do. That is so many points. That is a great position for Splatoonie. And Manta Boat Fan Club here, getting the wipeout, has to now play from behind only a minute into the match.
Yeah, a good opening out of Splatoonie there, and now they have the early lead, but Wipeout could be costly here because Manta Boat Fan Club is in a great spot to try to force this checkpoint, but it's going to be Dazuka from the right-hand side that's going to shut this one down. But Manta Boat Fan Club trying to force the barrier to pop their direction. They do have a numbers advantage to work with. They are putting mists like crazy on that Rainmaker, but it's going to be a delayed wipe, and Manta Boat Fan Club clears the checkpoint. Now the question is, can they pop this and get the clean jump?
The Toxic Mist putting in a lot of work here, preventing that jump. They have to take the ramp, but they do manage to get the lead because they get a couple of clean picks onto Splabui, and Manta Boat Fan Club does get the KO and take game 4 on Hagglefish Rain.
Oh, that was great coordination at the end there from Manta Boat Fan Club. They knew that that jump was not going to go their way because of those Toxic Mists, and they knew that Splabui was basically just aiming everything that they had at the jump. So they said, hey, we're not even going to test it. Just grab the Rainmaker, swing it up the side of the ramp, and from there, pop the Kraken. We're just going to body block the rest of the way. And it was a beautiful execution to just prevent anybody from being able to hit that Rainmaker carrier. So that's a pretty solid push there out of Manta Boat Fan Club to swing this one after what was, a really good start out of Splabui.
Yes, for sure. Splabui did have a great opening, but unfortunately, Manta Boat Fan Club, very good at managing the resources and understanding the situation. A lot of teams might panic and try to jump that gap anyway, and that would be a huge point where they could probably die, where Manta Boat Fan Club playing it slow, calming it down, walking it in that right side, and waiting for that Kraken to come out to really get that good push, and it leads them straight to the knockout. So, impressive performance from Manta Boat Fan Club. Splabui, though, with a great opening. That's what we wanted to see from them this set, and they're going to have to continue to bring that momentum into these next 5 games if they really want to take this set with a reverse sweep.
Absolutely, and that is no easy feat. They're going to have to start their expedition here on Splat Zone's Barnacle and Dime. So this one's going to be tricky for sure, but given how the map modes have been going so far, if I'm Splabui, this is an opportunity. You had a nice clean opening there in the previous game, and with Barnacle and Dime, you do have a couple more of those choke points. So if you can just get that clean opening, they could really start to set themselves up for success here by initiating a lockout. But of course, Splat Zones in game 1, we saw what was a perfectly executed lockout by Manta Boat Fan Club. So I really think this one's going to come down to whoever does get that better opening. Whoever's going to find the 3 down first wins this game.
For sure. This map, a very notorious map for getting locked out. Usually specials are the best way to break in. And here we see a couple of strong specials coming out from the side of Manta Boat Fan Club. We do have the Zuka, double Zuka again, one with having the tent. The tent should be a great resource for them to use here. On the side of Splabui, we do have an Explosher, which should be providing a lot of paint for the team, as well as a Splashdown, which could be a very cheesy way to cap the zone. As Manta Boat Fan Club does have a stronger opening, they do cap the zone, but then trade creep with 1-to-1, and now they actually are down in numbers. Splabui having more players alive, but they're getting pushed out by this tent on Juice. As Juice walks in, he gets a very strong trade.
Oh, this is just a bloodbath early on between these two teams. I do agree, Manta Boat Fan Club having the slight edge early on, just being able to cap that zone and hold an aggressive position. But Splabui is coming back here, and they're going to flip this zone, and that's going to be a 2-down situation for Manta Boat Fan Club. The rest of the team quickly trying to move up. Everyone going back to grab some juice there, which I think is fantastic to be able to have in this position here, because now they're going to be able to get back in real quick to try to hold down this zone. But it seems like they're getting a little bit scattered here. And oh, how do you survive that splashdown?
The splashdown hitbox, unfortunately, not going in the way of Splabui, though they do get the trade out later. Right now, Splabui is a few numbers up, but they're all running in, so they need to coordinate together to try to get to the zone before Manta Boat Fan Club is able to regroup and coordinate. Here we see 2 members going down on Splabui, unfortunately. Manta Boat Fan Club holding the zone. They're about to be out of penalty soon and will be counting down. The Kraken gets prevented by the tent shield, unfortunately. It gets pushed back off of the map, I think?
I think you're right. I think that's what happened. That is wild that the bounce back there was that big.
Those are the plays you want to make when you're on that tent. Those are the things you want to see to prove to your teammates that tent belongs on the team. Another Kraken coming up very quickly again from the side of Splabui as they have 10 ticks left to try to take this zone. They're going to need to rush in now to keep themselves in this set. But unfortunately, that does not happen. Splabui unable to get the zone to be neutral or their color in time, and Manta Boat Fan Club takes this set in a 5-0 sweep.
Wow, that was quite the impressive performance there out of Manta Boat Fan Club to just come in and dominate each of these games. So I'm impressed. This is a pretty strong team, and I know that they started off the season 0-1, but they've got to be feeling good about that performance and what that could mean for the rest of the season for them.
For sure. We alluded to it at the beginning of the set. It's a very important position where both these teams are 0-1. Ludi's a big time for these lower level teams to prove themselves and show everyone what they're capable of. And when you're in this position, you gotta say, no, last week was a flop. Like, we weren't playing right. This is what we're really made of. And that's what Manta Boat Fan Club said today. Came in here with a strong 5-0. 3 of those games were very convincing wins where Splabui wasn't able to get a footing just because of how much pressure, how much coordination, and how much just understanding of their own comp that they were bringing to the table.
Absolutely, but Splabui still put up a valiant effort here. So it is going to be 5-0 in the other team's favor, but I think with each game, they really did get better and better. I saw a lot more coordination. It seemed like that they were taking better fights. They got better openings. So it's one of those things that I think there's a lot that they can go and review the film here to pull out what worked and what didn't work and set themselves up for success for the next 3 weeks. So yes, it's going to be an L on the scoreboard, but I think that there is a lot here that they can really, really grow from.
For sure. And this is one of those sets where you look at it at face value and say, oh, it's 5-0. It was easy. No, Splabui had a lot of good positions here. They had a strong opening on that Hagglefish game, breaking the checkpoint within the first minute. They have a lot of strong things going for them. It's just one of those cases where Manta Boat Fan Club is that one extra step ahead. And that's sometimes all it takes in competitive Splatoon. It's such a quick game. There's so much going on. You just have to get that extra little edge over the other team if you want to take the game.
Certainly. So, well, that's going to do it for this set, though. It's going to be a 5-0 sweep in Manta Boat Fan Club's favor as they move up to 1-1. Splabui going to be dropping to 0-2. So, this is going to be a fun division, though. I know that they've got a lot of interesting teams in their group in particular. I know Origami Dragons are a big favorite in that division as well. So I think this is going to be a group that's one to follow for sure. But I think, Hammy, that's going to do it for tonight. So let's go ahead and plug ourselves and we'll send everyone on with the rest of their Saturday. So please, where can people of our chat find you?
If the people in chat want to see more of me, you can find me basically everywhere at Hammy in the Wall. Some places it's just HITW because Hammy in the Wall is too long for a lot of platforms, unfortunately. But yeah, that's where you can find me a lot of places. And DRF, where can they find you?
You can go and find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon and on Twitch at TritonDRF. But per usual, you can find me over at the CCA covering all things collegiate Splatoon. Thank you all so much for joining us on this lovely Saturday evening for a Ludi Tonight doubleheader. We will see you all tomorrow for God knows how many matches we have scheduled here at SplatoonTourney, but it will be a fun evening for sure. For Hammy and myself, we wish you all a wonderful rest of your evening.